Hello, welcome to News 6. Today's show features a 6th grade class of Delphos St. John's Elementary School. With the first segment about what's happening in our school, here's Jane Whitler.
Monday is a very special day for the 6th graders in room 264. That's the day we hold reading clubhouses. The girls get together to read and discuss books like Little Women, 17th Summer, and Becky's Horse. Meanwhile, the boys absorb themselves in books like Edge of Manhood, Call of the Wild, and the 23rd Street Crusaders. We think reading clubhouses are fun, but best of all, everyone is reading and learning. On October 16th, the 6th graders experienced a confirmation awareness and preparation for the sacrament of confirmation. Confirmation is when the Holy Spirit comes into our lives in a very special way, and we are considered full-blooded adult Christians. The sophomores at Delphos St. John's are helping us prepare for confirmation. They became a big brother or sister to each of us. We met them in church and then went to the playground to talk. We would like to thank the sophomores for being a friend and for helping us prepare for confirmation. Everyone loves to have a good time, and if you would have come to our church festival in October, you would have not had only a good time, you would have helped raise money for our church and our school. The festival has been a tradition in Delphos since 1913, when the festival made over $9,000. This year we made over $81,000. Everyone took part in the festival. The sisters, the priests, the pastor, the teachers, and the grade school classes from 1 through 8. Everyone tried their luck at games, while others took out time for refreshments. A clown was also on hand to make everyone's day happy. And at the end of the festival, everyone left with tired feet but smiling faces. Here's Tracy Siever with our next story about our community.
When Gressel's egg factory was founded in the late 1930s, Philip Gressel peddled eggs from door to door. Today, the eggs are shipped to places all over the eastern half of the United States. After Gressels receive the eggs, they are unpacked and put into a washer. Steel brushes are used to clean the eggs. After they are washed, the eggs are checked for cracks, then divided up according to their size. They are then oiled to replace a shield that was removed during the wash. Then the eggs are put in an outgoing cooler. The cooler can hold up to 30,000 cases of eggs, while a newer machine holds up to 40,000 cases. Both coolers are kept around 50 degrees. The warehouse holds about 3 million egg cartons, and about 12,000 cartons are sent out each day to places like Florida, Alabama, and New York. The people of Delphos care about how our community looks. Because of this, the Chamber of Commerce is making a study to remodel our downtown area. One thing they plan to do is to fix up some of the older buildings so that they are more attractive. The Chamber of Commerce would also like to have new benches, trees, and new downtown lighting. The planning has already started and will be completed in a few months. Professional planners will tell the Chamber of Commerce what will be best for the community, but the actual work depends on what the people want. With another story about our community, here's David Corty.
Many years ago, the Miami-Erie canal that runs through Delphos was the lifeline for transportation and food supply for our great-grandparents. This canal was the most important national waterway built in the United States. But when it was replaced by other forms of transportation, the canal eventually became an eyesore. Pollution, garbage, and brush added to the problem. But soon the canal will gain a new appearance. The city of Delphos recently voted to dredge the canal to allow for better flow-through of the canal waters. The 4-foot water level will have fish and waterfowl, making the canal a center of interest once again. It is up to the people of Delphos to keep the canal free of garbage and pollution. Then, and only then, can we be proud of our part of the Miami-Erie Canal. Bob Ohm has always wanted to be a radio announcer, and today he is just that. Bob is the news director for WDOH in Delphos. But he is different from most other radio announcers in that Bob has been blind for almost all his life. News 6 reporter Ed Clayman talked to Bob about his job.
When you first became a radio announcer?
I've been associated or involved with amateur radio ever since I was 13, which is kind of a hobby that about 300,000 or 400,000 people have around the country. But as far as professional radio or broadcast radio, I've been involved in it since I was 17.
How did you get started in radio?
Well, the radio station came to Delphos in December of 1972, and that's the time it took the air. And at that point, I was a junior in high school, and I'd always wanted to get involved in radio one way or another, any way I could. And I, at that point, was considering going to a college or a technical school to try to get some experience in it. And I found that 3 or 4 months after it came on the air, I was able to get a job here and gained a lot of my experience working in it.
Were you scared the first time you were on radio?
Oh, certainly. Even though, as I say, I'd always wanted to do it, there was always the jitters that you get in the stomach and so forth. And even sometimes still today, when you've got a very important job to do, you may be a little bit ill at ease, but that's in a way a good thing because it makes you work just a little bit harder and makes you that much more conscious of what you're trying to do.
How did your blindness affect your life and your job?
I was thinking about that this morning, and the only time that I really guess I think about it is when I want to drive someplace, which is a little bit of a problem. It does not bother me at all in the job that I'm doing. I've been doing it for about 5 years, and it never even crosses my mind, basically.
This is Ed Clayman for News 6.
Now back to Tammy Harpster with our final story.
Lefty Williams is one of the most famous residents of Delphos. In 1915 and 1916, he was a pitcher for the New York Yankees. Lefty talked to News 6 reporter Deborah Mace about his experience in baseball back then.
In baseball when you played, and baseball today?
Well, I could say it's a lot more modern nowadays. I'm changing it. But a lot more modern because when I played, we played for the sport. And now it's business. It's the difference between baseball and... See, I got $200 a month for in my boarding room paid. So that's one day, and the traveling was so poor.
Who were your favorite players back then?
Well, didn't have them. Most of them hit me too much, and they wasn't too much favorites. Trey Speaker and Joe Jackson.
Do you know any famous baseball players today?
Oh, yes. Pete Rose, Wally Post. Well, Wally Post ain't playing no more, but that's what I mean. Johnny Bench.
Really? How'd you meet him?
At the ballpark. That's where they... So much younger than I was, but when I was to the game, that's where I learned to know him.
When you were a little boy, did you think you would become a famous baseball player?
Never thought of it. When I wasn't very famous or had to be, yet.
Lefty is now 83 years old, but he's still very active in helping our school. He helps us collect newspapers and raise money for our school. His project makes around $4,000 a year. Lefty is a great and beautiful person who never stops helping others. Thank you for watching News 6. Today's show was brought to you by the 6th grade class of Sister Petrine, Miss Alexandra, and Sister Karen. Next week, news will feature the 6th grade class of Fayette Elementary. Have a great week.